We need to do the opposite of much of what we're doing right now, and the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. So let me share the math. $1,000 a month for every adult would be $461 million every month right here in Detroit alone. The automation of our jobs is a central challenge facing us today.
There is a lot more that can be learned from Andrew Yang outside of his policies. From his very clear and grounded vocal projection to his very decisive and dominant body language. Andrew Yang is a 44-year-old entrepreneur that is currently running for president within the Democratic Party. He has been gaining massive attention over the web through his flagship proposal called Universal Basic Income, which is a dividend of $1,000 a month to every American over the age of 18. I personally found out about Andrew Yang when he came out on the Joe Rogan podcast, and ever since I've been following him very closely within his campaign. Outside of the political figure, I found that Andrew Yang is actually very interesting under a more behavioral or social skills based of analysis, because he has a very powerful vocal projection and at the same time a very calm and collected body language.
Into their hands. It would be a game changer for women around the country, because we know that women do more of the unrecognized and uncompensated work in our society. It will not change unless we change it. And I say that's just what we do.
Mr. Yang.
Something that caught my eye from the very first moment is Andrew Yang's exceptional vocal projection. That's very specific of him, and I've seen other Asians that are able to hold that for a very long time. However, it's still very remarkable, and for me, it falls within my top 3 of public speakers, along with Tony Robbins and Obama. He has this very unique way to speak and always complement whatever he's saying with his hands and with his posture. He's a very straight posture compared to other candidates and uses his hands a lot. Something really particular about his body language and the way that he uses his hands is the fact that whenever he's speaking, he's opening up his fingers a lot. And that's very interesting on my side, simply because I've never seen anybody have a similar approach to using their hands. It's literally just like this. This is me, Andrew Yang, speaking right now. And this is my policy, too. Which is very interesting. I mean, I've never seen that before, and definitely caught my eye. Another one of his flagship gestures is actually the downward gesture with his hand. And we can see that in several different examples within different Democratic debates. However, I personally found this clip within the October debate to be fascinating because, as he mentions, the fact is, he also does this downward gesture.
And that is going to accelerate and grow more serious regardless of who is in the Oval Office. The fact is, Donald Trump, when we're talking about him, we are losing.
And this on a subcommunication level means that the fact is, this is how things are, and that's because I actually know my data. The cool thing about all of this is the fact that literally you can use these kind of things in several different situations within your own life. And that's why I'm actually bringing them to you right now. And ultimately, it does this corridor gesture with his hands that could be described as yourself sizing a fish or measuring a fish. And the main reason why this corridor gesture actually works is simply because of the fact that throughout opening your hands and spreading them apart like this, just like what I'm doing right now, you start creating a connection, almost like a tunnel, within yourself and the viewer. And we can actually see Andrew Yang use this within every single Democratic debate, simply because it works really well. It creates the connection that he wants. He's new, other people don't know him, and therefore that's a really good way for him to really get in touch with other people and make his message come across in an effective way. Within the debates, he's always alternating between the downward gesture, between the corridor, and between opening up the hands and the fingers. However, this wouldn't be a complete video if I wasn't to break down Andrew Young's incredible voice. Therefore, let's get into it. Watch out, in this clip, as the crowd starts cheering, his voice speeds up in order to calibrate to the energy in the room.
Into their hands. It would be a game changer for women around the country because we know that women do more of the unrecognized and uncompensated work in our society. It will not change unless we change it. And I say that's just what we do.
He manages to pace his sentences with exceptional congruence, therefore complementing the crowd cheering his own speech. For example, compare it with Biden speaking when the crowd starts cheering. Instead of going with the flow and using the power of the crowd cheering to amplify his message, he instead stutters and goes back to his speech without acknowledging the crowd.
Become a prosecutor. I came out and I left a good law firm to become a public defender when in fact my city was in flames because of the assassination of Dr. King.
That is a mistake that shows little situational awareness. And overall, it becomes a big opportunity lost for Biden. Another one of Yang's big wins is his volume and poses alternation. He knows when it's time to speak, he speaks with intent. However, he also knows when to put pauses in order to emphasize his message. Now, since this video is not necessarily only a praise for Yang, I noticed one thing that he may need to eventually work on, and that is that the fact that he has a little bit of a monotone, and therefore sometimes his voice comes out as monotonic, therefore always on the same line.
Because my voice is just a one-tone thing. My voice doesn't really convey emotions very well. It just sounds like the world's most unenthusiastic handjob talking
For
at you.
comparison, look up Obama with his speech with Republican running for president Romney. There is this clip back in 2012 in which Obama is able to incorporate all 6 tools of effective vocal projection.
That I think government creates jobs, that somehow is the answer. That's not what I believe. I believe that the free enterprise system is the greatest engine of prosperity the world's ever known. I believe Governor Romney is a good man, loves his family, cares about his faith. But I also believe that when he said behind closed doors that 47% of the country consider themselves victims who refuse personal responsibility, think about who he was talking about. Folks on Social Security who've worked all their lives. Veterans who've sacrificed for this country. Students who are out there trying to hopefully advance their own dreams, but also this country's dreams. Soldiers who are overseas fighting for us right now. People who are working hard every day, paying payroll tax, gas taxes, but don't make enough income. And I want to fight for them.
This, in my own opinion, is literally a masterpiece in regards to public speaking. And if you'd like to learn more about it, I'll link in the description a video with Julian Treasure, which is a voice coach, in which he breaks down all 6 different tools in regards to public speaking that you can use. Ultimately, one of the last points that I wanted to make in regards to Andrew Yang, and the main reason why I personally think that a lot of people actually like him, is the fact that he has exceptional congruence within the points that he makes. In a very uncertain world in which we are right now, in which we don't know how politics is gonna go, how the direction that the world is gonna take, one candidate that is able to bring this level of congruence and this level of authenticity to his speeches and to the way that he behaves is actually perceived as a breath of fresh air for Americans, and therefore I can totally see that as being one of the reasons why Andrew Yang is likely to do very well within the upcoming Democratic primary. Now, chances are that you're not a politician. However, you can absolutely use these gestures within your everyday life simply because they work for anybody. Ultimately, they go within human nature, and therefore they're intrinsic within your own biology. Which means that any day that you actually feel like using, whether that is the downward gesture, whether that is the corridor, or the opening the ends and having the fingers showing up, you can absolutely use them in any situation that you find yourself into. If you're interested into learning more about it, my channel is all about confidence, social skills, overcoming fear, and overcoming anxiety. Therefore, make sure to watch the next video and my oldest video that is about how to overcome anxiety in an effective step-by-step process. Therefore, ultimately, I want to thank you for watching. My name is Elia, and my mission is to make personal development mainstream, simply because it changed my life profoundly, and I am convinced that it can change yours. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.